So please rise for the pledge, and Jennifer, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Oops. Oh, my microphone is not working.
Nobody's mic's working.
I think they're turned off.
Okay, anyway, welcome everybody. I'm glad we are all here, still awake. We had our retreat, so we've been here having good discussions for the last couple of hours, and hope to have a couple more good discussions because we do have a lot on our plate today. The first thing I would like to do, nothing yet. I would like to change the order of, thank you. I would like to change the order of the agenda, for which I will need a motion. I would like to put our executive session at the beginning of the meeting right now, and move through the executive session and then come back to the public session. So is anybody willing to make that motion?
So move, Sue.
Thank you, Lance. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Thank you, Will. It's been moved and seconded that we move the agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. So we will need to clear the room from,
Just Greg and Denise.
just Greg. Thank you, Lance. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Ursula. It has been moved and seconded. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor, elementary trustees, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
I don't know.
I'm going to abstain because I did not participate in that talk.
Oh, okay, because technically you can't abstain, but, okay. It's been approved unanimously.
5-0.
You will be missed. Okay. Okay, so we're back on to our regular schedule, the approval of the minutes. I am assuming everybody has had a chance to read the minutes from the previous meeting. Any questions, comments, changes? Anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Lloyd. It's been moved and seconded by our two rookie trustees. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. It's been approved unanimously, the minutes. Information, reports, and update. Board chair update. You've heard a lot from me today, but I do have a couple other things I wanted to give you an update on. I briefly mentioned that I will not be here for the July meeting because I have the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. with the MTSBA folks and to meet with Senators Dane and Tester and Representative Rosendale. And we have a couple things, we have three things on our agenda that we are talking specifically about them with. The federal funding for special education is one of them. The second one is teacher and administrator recruitment and retention issues. And the third one is impacts of privatization on equity for Montana students, particularly rural schools and communities. So I am pretty excited to have that opportunity. If you have any messages you would like me to pass along, please feel free. And I will give you, a report when we get back. We only have one meeting in July. That is on the 11th or 12th, whatever that is, yeah. And the other thing I just wanted to mention, and it seems early, but I know I've got to get things on my calendar early. Before the last legislative session, we had a meet and greet with our legislators, and I thought it was very informative, both for them and for us, and I would like to do that again. Last time, we kind of mushed it all into the Christmas season, which was kind of a hectic time for them. I would like to do it in November, shortly after the election, the general election. I know, I saw that look, Lance. We will have some new legislators this year, and it was just a nice opportunity for us to express some of our concerns and just to connect with the legislators. It was very nice. I know, I think I talked with Frank Garner during the session about, every 4 days or so. But it's just nice to make that connection. So I would like to do that meet and greet again, probably, mid-November, mid to late November. If you guys all think that would be a good use of our time? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay, so I will do that. And I think that's the two things that I had left on my list. So next up is the monthly financial report, budget report. These are action items, information items only.
Okay, so this is the monthly budget report, it is for May of 2022. And it shows our adopted budget and all of our budgeted funds first, and then our cash funds below, but, so we're pretty much right on track. The one thing, and I mentioned this at the finance committee meeting, is in the retirement funds, you can see that, we'll see it on the cash report too, but the revenues, June is a big payroll month. Kayleen has processed 9 separate payrolls this month. She's been busy all month doing payroll. And so it's a big month because we're paying off contracts and just ending out the year. And so I try to keep a close watch on the retirement fund. And at the end of May, we had like just a couple of $100,000 in cash in that fund. And I realized, though, that the county superintendent of schools distributes the retirement fund funding to us. And the source of that money is property tax payments too. So they don't get their money until May as well, it's just like we do. And so we'll see that distribution in June. And I actually sent an email, and that's how worried I was about it. So was Delia. But they assured me that they're sending like $1.2 million in each of the retirement funds for the elementary and the high school. So that was probably my biggest worry. The rest of it looks pretty good and on track. And we're kind of monitoring June expenditures right now and trying to get everything, paid and accrued if we need to. But, she'll be making that last payroll run on June 30th. So we won't have exact figures for a while yet. And there's a high school report following that one. They're not separate, are they? I think they're all in the same document. So if you go back in the one you were in, Matt. Yeah, if you scroll down, the red is the elementary and the blue is the high school, and they're kind of mirrored. They're the budgets, especially for the general fund, are fairly close to each other. So the food fund is the only school food fund. It's at the high school level. It's got quite a bit of money in there. that I believe will be reduced in June as we close everything out. Yeah, I don't really have anything noteworthy to say other than it looks pretty good.
Thank you, Denise. Any questions, comments? Okay, go on to the cash flow report.
Okay. This is one I plan to redesign in the future. I think I'm going to make it into a line graph. But, this just shows, the cash balances at the end of, through the end of May. And then, that far right column shows the reserves that we entered the year with. That's kind of our, I know two of you weren't here when I gave that presentation, but we reserved money from the previous year's ending fund balance to maintain our cash flow during the year. So it's kind of money that was left over, for operating reserves. And then, that just helps us stay afloat because our revenues still come in at the same rate as our expenditures going out. Okay, so that's the purpose of that column there. And again, we have a couple of funds that are in the red, but it's because we haven't booked year-end entries. That internal service fund that you see up there is for the print shop, and that's just that's an entry that's made in June, and these reports are through May. It's not quite finished yet. About this report. We balance monthly to the county treasurer. The county treasurer is kind of our bank, and we get our bank statement from them around the third week of the month following month end. And so when we get that, Delia is really good about putting all the deposits and receipts in, and we just balance it like you would balance your checkbook. If you guys balance your checkbook. But it's a pretty quick process, and I'm going to be doing it solo in July, and I have lots of notes, but it's just a matter of knowing the system and where to get it, so. And then this report is the health insurance plan, the self-insurance fund that has our health and dental and vision insurance in it. This is the balance sheet as of May 31st. We're doing well. If you could scroll back to the first page, Matt, I learned a few more things about the numbers on this report. So if you want to know the cash balance in our fund, it's that $119,169.14. And the reason we have three different accounts there is the first one's kind of a clearing account. So, and then the other, so we can't run this account through the county because of the ACH transfers that have to take place. So we do this through First Interstate Bank, through a separate bank. And so that's just the balances in those three different accounts at the end of May. But we are in the black. I just want to make sure you know that. And then the assets are premiums that we have booked as revenue, but we haven't actually received the money yet. That's that under the other current assets section. And then the other current liabilities, that IDNR means it's claims that haven't been, they're estimated claims that we get from the consultant.
Incurred but not
Incurred
reported.
but not reported. Right. So they're booked as a payable, and that amount will be adjusted at the end of the year, and we get that information from the consultant. Then you see the loan from the district, but the amount that you see in net revenue that's highlighted in yellow, that's the net of just this fiscal year's money coming in versus the money going out. So that's in the black too, which is a good thing. And then the rest of the report, there's 9 pages to this report, and the rest of it is a recap of the revenues and expenditures in the different categories. The first set of statements that you see is a combined statement of revenues and expenditures, and then the following statements break out just the health insurance plan and just the dental insurance plan, because we're kind of monitoring those two separately. And then the last page is a comparison to the last year at this time.
Good to see that we're in the black.
Does that mean then that we're reducing our loan?
Have not reduced our loan yet, but,
That was supposed to-
I'm not sure what the plan was for that.
There's a formula. We have to hit a certain amount in reserve before we start paying back the loan, and then it's a percentage of whatever's remaining in the reserve. Haven't hit that. Yeah.
It's also till June.
Is
This
this,
report's through May.
this is just through May, so we have another month worth of claims and premiums to collect and all that kind of stuff.
So purposes of the calculation, are we looking at June ending balances or?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
At the end of every fiscal year?
And then, in July, we'll actually have, Scott Haas will be here in person with some representatives from, Premise Care here, to give a report on utilization, usage, potential cost savings, those kind of things from the clinic.
Keep going, Denise.
Okay, and then the last report is on the school foods program. And, it is, pretty cash heavy. I'm planning to meet with Jana in the next week or two, just to go over that whole program and look at the, I don't know, I just have not had time to go meet with her and just, talk about it. So I plan to talk about the budget for next year. They don't have to adopt a official budget, but I think that for school food and some of the other cash funds, it's a good idea to maybe have a budget, just so you can kind of track what things cost and what you're bringing in. So, doing well. And I think she has more plans for updating the equipment for the school food program.
A question. This is also fiscal year, so it ends in June. We have a summer food program. Part of that in June, and then the rest of it is the start of this fiscal year.
That's correct. It started right after spring went out.
Kind of gets cut.
The accounting for the expenditures and the revenues coming in get cut, but still ongoing.
So Denise, could you just remind us all that while we have some cash in that fund, that we've earmarked a lot of that for some equipment replacement?
Yes,
You know.
I think you've already approved an oven and maybe 2 ovens and a steamer, and then I believe another item on her list was to replace a food fan that was really old. But I think she's having some challenges in finding a new one. So that's why it hasn't come through yet. So, and then they're getting new workstations there too, and that money it'll be paid for by the school food.
And are we getting reimbursed anymore for the school lunch program after the summer?
Well, there's talk in the news, and I haven't heard anything lately, but there was talk that they were going to continue those federal waivers,
Mm-hmm.
past June 30th. I haven't heard that a decision has been made for
Yeah.
that, but she does get summer food revenue, during the summer, and then if the waivers, federal waivers don't pass, then we'll go back to the previous system where we get federal reimbursement for free and reduced price lunches, and we have to submit counts for that. So it'll be less revenue than before, but it'll continue. And then she'll have paid meals, I guess. And then catering's another revenue source for the school food program.
Excellent. Thank you, Denise. Any other questions or comments for Denise? Okay, let's move on to, some, business. First up is the MTSBA resolution vote.
We have one thing in personal action items.
Oh, sorry. Personnel action items, backing up.
Sue, I'd move to approve the personnel action items as
Thank you.
presented.
Thank you, Lance. Thank you, Heather. Been moved and seconded that we approve the personnel action items. Any other discussion, comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. It has been approved unanimously. Okay, next, the MTSBA resolution vote. We talked about this briefly. This is an item that we have to vote on because we did not have a quorum at the annual meeting of the MTSBA, of which we are a member. So we have to approve each one of these individually. There are 5, 6 items we have to approve individually. Any questions or comments? Anyone comfortable making a motion? Denise,
Well,
your microphone is still on.
I move that we approve, the MTSBA Resolution 1.
Thank you, Will. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Jennifer. Moved and seconded that we approve, resolution number 1, gap analysis. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. It has been approved unanimously. Resolution number 2, creating the University Reimbursement Fund to support required college credits to certify dual enrollment instructors. Any questions or comments? Anybody come
So I
to?
move that we approve the MTSBA Resolution 2.
Thank you, Will. Is there a second? Thank you, Heather. It has been moved and seconded. We approve resolution number 2. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. It's been approved unanimously. Resolution number 3, base aid funding to establish that awful word, distance learning networks. Is anybody comfortable making a motion?
So I move that we approve MTSBA Resolution 3.
Thank you, Will. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Heather. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. It's been approved unanimously. Resolution number 4, reducing individual maximum limit for innovative educational program tax credit in House Bill 279, amending the definition and implement a lottery process. Any questions?
So I move that we approve MTSBA Resolution 4.
Thank you, Will. Is there a second? Thank you, Heather. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. It's been approved unanimously. Number 5, the election of officers of the corporation, and I have chocolate right here. Any questions?
Do I move that we approve the MPSC president-elect nominee?
Thank you, Will. Is there a second? Thank you, Heather. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay, it's been approved unanimously. The 6th one, and we didn't really talk about this one, the amendment to the MTSBA bylaws. This is just removing any reference.
Yeah, you skipped.
You skipped yourself, you're not gonna be able to get
We
on
don't
the
want
top.
to get the vice chair.
Oh, we have to vote
Or the
for each
vice
one of those? Oh, okay. Election of vice president nominee. Will, go ahead.
Especially move that we approve the MPSC vice president nominee.
Thank you, Will. Is there a second? Thank you, Heather. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. It's been approved unanimously. Thank you, everyone, I think. Last one, amendment to the MTSBA bylaws, and this is just removing any reference to NSBA, which we have left. There is a new consortium of state school board associations being formed to replace the National School Board Association that had some ongoing issues. So that is just the motion to replace that. So is there a motion for that one?
Do I move we accept the amendment, to the MPSBA bylaws?
Thank you, Will. Is there a second? Thank you, Heather. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. It's been approved unanimously. Okay. Thank you for all that. Next up, interlocal agreement renewal.
Okay. You have a multi-district agreement between your elementary and high school districts, and it is accounted for in an interlocal agreement fund at the high schools, which acts as the prime agency. The current agreement that you have expires June 30th of 2022, and so we can renew for another 3 years, and that's what this agreement here is doing for you.
Any questions for Denise? This is an action item, so anybody want to make the motion?
Sue, I'd be glad to make the motion to approve the interlocal agreement for the next 3 years for our school districts.
Thank you, Lance. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ursula. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay, it has been approved unanimously. Next, surplus property.
Okay, Matt, can you click on the far right attachment? I'm sorry. That's the one that I want to go over first. So, this is a resolution to dispose of personal property, and it just states that, as governing board of the district, you have the, power and responsibility to hold and trust the personal and real property of the district. The second whereas just says that, by law, you're allowed to determine that a site or building or any other property of the district is about to be, become abandoned or obsolete or unsuitable. We do have a list of items that are, just general descriptions of those, and I have detailed lists, here to follow. technology equipment, science and vocational surplus items, and various furniture, equipment, and books. And, this resolution says that as a board, you found that these items are indeed unsuitable for district purposes now. Once you adopt this resolution, it doesn't, become effective for 14 days. I have to publish a notice in the paper, and we have to post it in 3 places, in the district, and also post it on our website. And it gives the public notice that we've determined that there's property that we, no longer need. And it gives the public 14 days to kind of weigh in on whether or not, they think that's true. And so, usually this kind of thing goes without mention. I'm not sure in this particular district what happens when you put surplus property out there, but, there's instructions on the legal ad that if they have questions, they can contact me. And, so I just need, this resolution passed. If you would like to see the list of items, then we can go to the other, attachments there.
There's gonna be a rush for those 30 copies of the 1977 grammar book. I know.
So
that
I just put out a call for surplus property, and this is what was submitted to me. So there's some items of Flathead High, there's a number of technology equipment,
I just have a question about the items that are earmarked for South Mile River. How does that, get determined? Do they come in and step over and say, we'd like to pick up?
Mile River is just a, they're like a lead internet company, they'll buy the equipment back. So that's.
on Greg's list of surplus property and self storage.
I want the coffee maker without the pot.
Yeah.
And then the other attachment is the one I got from Kelly. So she was busy going through obsolete items. So it's in an Excel spreadsheet. And it lists a number of textbooks and VHS tapes. There's a whole tab with VHS titles, some various equipment.
Oh, is this mostly coming from the library?
And we'll post the resolution and links to these 2 documents so that folks will be able to look at them on our website.
So how is this gonna impact the storage containers down by Rankin School? Just curious.
Not at all.
Not at all?
So the storage containers at Rankin,
Well, no, on the property that's fenced in by south of Rankin.
not at all. So if you go further south to our storage down off
Oh, it's north of Cemetery Road.
Cemetery Road, so if you, in there, that's gonna impact it greatly.
Yeah, 'cause that's that's the little island by itself down there.
Yeah, so storage, they have the storage complex back there, we have the biggest storage unit in there. We're going to decrease our 30%.
That's about an acre of ground that we have there.
Oh, yeah, and, Anna and I will be talking about, I wasn't quite sure as far as versus what they get out of there. Junk that's in there right now, yeah.
Okay, good.
It will be.
Where does this stuff go? Like, do you, where does this stuff go? Like, can people try to buy it? Will it be listed?
Give it away, so, the lockers we took out of Flathead, we sold
Stillwater?
Stillwater?
Stillwater, yeah, we sold all those to them. We're still storing a few of them for them, just until they figure out what they're gonna do with them, and then have some cafeteria tables up that, that's the custodial equipment that people were looking at
These are all items from last year's surplus.
last year's and
Yeah,
the year before.
So the past procedure has been either negotiated, sealed bid, or just auction. And there's dates and times that are established for those.
That's posted when you post all the surplus.
Yes, yeah.
That, then it goes into a legal notice.
So I'd move to approve the surplus property.
Thank you, Lance. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Will. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passed unanimously. Next up, transportation training stipend. Greg?
So this is for, transportation department, so there's a federal requirement now that we have to train our drivers. We can contract this out, we can, through FECC plus, Carlos. There's, curriculum that we have to develop, and all this. It's part of the whole ongoing training process of new drivers. They don't necessarily have to have the driver's license to come in and drive a bus, but we say we train them, and which we do, it's about a 40-hour process. The average that Annie and I were talking about was around $2,000 for sources outside of the district. We're looking to keep it inside of the district, develop a curriculum, develop the whole process, that will meet all the requirements of the federal and state requirements to train our drivers. And, we're looking at about $1,200 per, this is $1,200 per train, not per trainer, per driver that we bring in to train. So you're looking, the average that we do, that I think Annie and I talked about this, was about between 4 and 6 drivers a year. And we want to offer it internally. Annie feels like we have some very good candidates that will step up and do this outside of their regular 40-hour work week. And they're going to be part of the whole process of developing this program. It's all in-house. We have to keep records for, I believe, 3 years. And, there's a continuing education process that has to go on, but, we will be able to control this whole process, bring it in-house, and we feel that if we give a stipend to the trainers of about $1,200, which is roughly 40 hours of their overtime wage, keep it here. They're not, if they leave, they leave. I mean, we can't control that, but they don't get like a certificate or any of that stuff. It is part of a driver's license that they have, license, for us. So, and we feel strongly about just bringing them in and having them. That's what it is. It's about $1,200. We figure, we're kind of thinking it's gonna be around 5 drivers a year, and that's gonna all come out of the budget. So roughly $6,000, maybe $7,000 a year. And we will, that being said, we're going to pay these drivers that apply for this, get approved for the job. They help develop the curriculum. I mean, they're the professionals. They know what we have to do, know the nuances of all that. But there is guidelines and all This is all brand new. We have to do it one way or the other. We either farm it out, contract it out, and pay more, or we just bring it in-house and run it ourselves.
Greg, and I understand that if we go this route, then we'll be able to control the timeline where we do the other agencies. It might be hit or miss about when they can train our employees.
Yeah, like, I should have said that. So, like FECC and Harlow's, they have like, timelines. We can't just walk up to them and go, hey, we need to train this person now. They have certain criteria they meet, certain timelines they have, like, they may train 6 months, 5 times out of the year, 3 times out of the year. We have a group of people, they may make an exception for us, but for the most part, they'll be waiting, and we advertise, going to,
Greg, I think this is a great way to train people the way we want to train, keep it in-house, and maybe keep some of our other staff engaged and earn a little more money. So I wouldn't hesitate if you're ready for me to make a motion.
Yep, go for it.
Okay, I move that we approve this stipend.
Thank you, Lance. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Heather. Is any other comments or questions?
I have a question, how soon could we get this started?
so, with talking with Annie, who obviously knows way more than I do about this stuff, we could probably get it off the ground sometime in August. But we're gonna have the buy-in from whatever we're gonna do and do all that stuff. He has a pretty good idea with the curriculum that needs to be done. There's some nuances to it that we have to do and some loopholes and all that stuff, not loopholes. Very compliant. He has, Annie's got this down. Like, he's the one that's telling me that, I have all the confidence in the world in her. She's got it.
Great. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the transportation training stipend as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
It's been approved unanimously. Moving on to the John Deere 1600 quote.
Wide area mower.
Wide area mower.
So we've decided to go this route. Here he goes. So currently we have a
Looks like one.
15 or 16-year-old Toro mower that, refused to pull up all the invoices that we paid on, so it habitually overheats. It doesn't work anymore. So, we have identified some funds. We're gonna split it in high school, because that's what we use this for. This piece of machinery can mow 8.2 acres an hour. We have the ability to probably take care of all of our fields and soccer fields, football fields that we mow right now currently in less than 2 days. 3 days, and that will free us up. I'm just telling you right now, I don't even know what to say anymore. We just need a new mower. I would love to purchase this. Matt Jensen said that he would pay for half of it in a day.
That sounds like Matt.
I'm kidding. We're looking roughly $66,000. That's an increase of about $1,000 from last year, and things just keep escalating. So we do have an opportunity to buy one of these. We probably will not find another one in the future, just because we're building them. And kind of had a thought process behind this about 6 months ago, and we found 2 and looking probably the end of August, first part of September, which is good. We have the ability to do this, and we have the funding and our game up to the next. Can't keep up. We don't have the equipment to do it. We have a Toro and a Super B and a couple of collectors and all stuff that we need to do to make our grounds look what they need to be. I don't even, I want to tell you, I mowed my lawn today, and it took me 45 minutes to mow my lawn. This is, that thing would mow my lawn in about 3
Half the time would be spent turning it around.
We'll put up with it. Any other comments or questions?
Well, like most of the other mowers, like, will this replace all the other mowers, and then do they become surplus property?
No, well, I'm not giving, I won't give rid of any of them. I just won't throw $10,000 a year or $15,000 a year into the Toro. We can, we'll use that as needed, but this thing will be a complete game changer on large areas of track. So unless they're just done, I won't. We'll use it.
And soon we'll have a place to store it.
And we have a trailer to tow it. We can store that at the maintenance building.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
So I move that we approve the purchase of the John Deere 1600.
Thank you, Will. Is there a second?
I'll second that too.
Thank you, Lance. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. It's been approved unanimously. Next up, Ag Ed John Deere Green Star GPS auto steer equipment.
Yep, so last year, the Ag Ed Center bought a new tractor. One of the features of the tractor was that you could, buy other components to give it auto steer, GPS. It's all about, saving fuel, saving seed, saving, time, energy, resources. There are 3 components to the purchase. There's the display panel, there's the computer that kind of does all the GPS stuff, and then, there's something else. I actually went online and tried to find pictures of all 3 components, and I was gonna put them on here like I did the lawnmower, but they were not nearly as, exhilarating as seeing a big old John Deere diesel lawnmower. So I didn't do that, but this is a request coming from Brian Bay at the, Ag Ed Center, and they will, with this equipment, they will start incorporating it into, their Ag 3 and Ag 4 curriculum. And so, request.
And Mike, could this be paid on a
Perfect.
Other questions, comments? Is there a motion?
So made.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a second? Thank you, Jennifer. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passed unanimously. Next up is the consent agenda district-wide.
So I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Will. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Heather. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Scott, how do you vote?
I,
Motion passed unanimously. Next up, safe return to schools and continuity of service plan that we have to talk about every
Yeah, we have
meeting.
to, we have to talk about it at every meeting, but then there's also a federal requirement that we update the, plan, every 6 months. And so, gone back through the plan, and one of the links that I provided for you here was a link to the information that we carry on our website. And 2 years ago, we created all these documents, and we had the phases, and we had the, you know, all the documents from the county health department and the CDC and all of those things. There is no, recommendation to change anything. We're currently in phase 3, which basically is school resumes as normal, but we're still going to, try and implement best practices around sanitizing, washing hands, covering your mouth. If people want to wear a face covering, they can, but no restrictions or limitations on that. So if you're ever really interested to see, like, if you picked, the pandemic operational guide, yep. You'll see that we have a document in there. The dates have all been updated, and with no significant changes to anything in there. And that's just based off of the advice, talking with Joe Russell with the county health department, talking with, other colleagues. And so this is like a, I don't know, 40-page document with just kind of some practices and things that we would do. So nothing really, to change in there. And then if you go back to the agenda, the safe return to schools and continuity of service plan, again, this has, all the information, basically starting in March 2020. We update it with all of the dates of our board meetings so that we know that it's been noticed on the agenda. If a member of the public wanted to come in and speak to anything on there, they certainly could. If the board of trustees had any concerns, they certainly could. There's a lot of policy that's referenced in this document. If you remember, we adopted all of the 1900 series. Still the recommendation of MTSBA to hang on to those policies for the time being. It doesn't hurt to have them there. They're there in case we need them. At some point, we would probably look at removing some of those policies. But if we remove them now, then we're going to have to come back and go back through a process to reinstate the policies. And updated some dates in there. Yeah, so it's a lot of bureaucracy, which some of it's fine, but we have to update this on our website. We have to update it with the Office of Public Instruction. And, there. So it doesn't really take any action from the board since it's already in place and required. Accept any input or feedback that you may have relative to the safe return to schools and continuity of services plan.
Mike, we're not doing that testing station anymore.
Any other questions or comments? Really nice that this is just a short part of our meetings anymore. Okay, next up is public comment. Time for comment on public matters that are not on the agenda. Members of the audience are encouraged to briefly address us trustees on an issue not on the agenda. And we have some public comment, it looks like. You have 3 minutes, Greg.
Started a few minutes ago.
So, Micah, Charlie and Beth, love you guys, gonna miss you. And, today was a real eye-opener for me when I walked up there and I saw Jan. That kind of hit me, because that was my first, when I came here, that was my gal. I mean, like I told my wife, I go, nah, that's my you. She took care of me and guided me through that. But Callie, I love you to death, and I would like to say I'm happy for both of you, but I'm just gonna go out with this.
I don't know how you're gonna record that in a minute.
And Greg, thank you for making those comments, because I too want to express my gratitude for the two of you. It has been, I mean, a lot of years for you and I, Callie.
It has.
Yeah,
We have some good years left in us.
yes, we do. We do. It keeps getting better every year. And Beth, I truly appreciate all the help you have given to the board over these years and the sunshine that you bring to us. It's been great. Thank you. You'll be missed, both of you.
Sue, if I could, say a couple words in public comment.
Yeah.
I've never been in public comment before, but okay. And thank you, Greg, for your kind words. You were just the person that we needed in facilities, and you've been incredible, so thank you so much. I would like to acknowledge two things. I'd like to acknowledge Beth, and I kind of sort of knew Beth before I moved up to the office, central office, but what I got to know even better about Beth was the incredible level of professional customer service that she adds to that office. And whether it is a citizen calling on the phone, or a parent coming in with their hair on fire, or just lost people, Beth treats them like royalty, and she has been a real good role model for the rest of us, just always happy, goes way out of her way, and I have just really, really enjoyed working with her. It can be a little quiet up in the central office. We kind of just go do our thing up there, but Beth adds the much-needed cowbell. And I have also loved that. And how many days did you go, Beth, wearing your 30 days of wearing animal prints without repeating the office? I mean, is that not the person you want to work with? Yeah. Oh, no. I'm not done yet. You can get the timer. Okay. And just one other acknowledgement. I want to acknowledge the board for something. For those of you that have taken Ivan's class at the college on boardsmanship, one of the things that he talks about is high-performing boards in high-performing districts where student achievement is just off the charts. There's a couple things they have in common. One is they know their role and responsibility. They know where they fit in that diagram. But the other thing is they get to the point where they do something like a strategic plan. And it's a strategic plan that actually is down to earth and usable. And if I were a building administrator going into next school year, I would be on cloud 9 with this document. It is so clear, it's so down to earth, it's focused exactly where it needs to be. And I would bet a dozen donuts that you guys are gonna see an increase in student achievement as a result of your leadership on this. I mean, it's right out of the textbook, and it's an absolutely wonderful document. And I am so, so proud of you guys. And I'm proud of the district. And Mike and Matt. So thank you.
I got that before you did.
Thank you. You guys are you're gonna have an incredible year.
Callie, you are welcome back anytime to make public comments.
I'll sit out there with Greg.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have some upcoming meetings. Our Finance Committee meeting July 8th, and regular board meeting on July 12th. A nice month. That percentage of how full our plates are should go down this month. Okay. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn in record time? I will add.
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Ursula. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Lloyd. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Scotty, how do you vote?
Nay.
He's already adjourned. Okay, this meeting is adjourned, 7:12.